Thunder crackles across the night sky as flames devour a sprawling mansion, its Victorian architecture silhouetted against storm clouds. Veteran firefighter James Carter pushes through thick smoke and falling debris, thermal imaging camera held, steady in his weathered hands. 25 years of service haven't prepared him for what lies behind that ornate mahogany door. The thermal scan reveals a human shape on the master bed, motionless. The door splinters under his axe. Through the smoke, he sees her, a woman bound to the bedposts, terror in her eyes. But as he rushes to cut her free, the smoke parts just enough. That face, he knows that face. It's Sarah, his little sister who vanished without a trace 10 years ago. Questions flood his mind. Who kept her here? Why? And most importantly, who set this fire to cover their tracks? Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The thermal imaging camera slips from James's trembling fingers, clattering against the smoldering hardwood floor. His sister's face, illuminated by the dance of flames, strikes him like a physical blow. 25 years fighting fires, and he's never frozen like this, not until now. "Carter!" Captain Reynolds's voice crackles through his radio. "Status. Report." James's hand moves automatically to his shoulder, pressing the radio button. "Victim found. Female. Conscious." His voice catches, requesting immediate medical support. He works methodically to free Sarah from her restraints, his training taking over where emotion threatens to paralyze him. The silk scarves binding her. Wrists are expensive, the kind you'd find in boutiques on Fifth Avenue, not the hardware store rope used by common criminals. Each detail catalogues itself in his mind with the precision of a veteran firefighter who's spent countless hours testifying in arson investigations. Sarah doesn't speak as he carries her out. Her face presses against his coat, fingers gripping the thick material like she's afraid he'll disappear. The badge on his chest, the one he's worn with pride for a quarter-century, digs into her cheek, leaving an impression like a brand. Outside, red and blue lights paint the manicured lawn in alternating colors. The mansion looms behind them, a Gothic silhouette crowned in flames. Paramedics rush forward with a gurney, but Sarah's grip tightens. "Don't leave," she whispers, her first words. The sound of her voice, hoarse but alive, strikes a chord in his memory. Sunday morning pancakes, teaching her to ride a bike, promises to always protect her that he couldn't keep. "I'm right here," he assures her, helping transfer her to a gurney. "I'm not going anywhere." The words feel inadequate against the weight of 10 years of absence. A young paramedic begins checking Sarah's vitals while his partner starts an IV. James watches their practiced movements, remembering all the times he's stood by similar gurneys, watching other people's loved ones being treated. But this time, every beep of the heart monitor, every murmured observation between the medical team, carries the weight of personal devastation. "BP's low but stable," the paramedic announces. "We need to transport." James nods, still holding Sarah's hand. His radio squawks again. Captain Reynolds requesting his help with containment. For the first time in his career, he ignores it. The badge that's defined his adult life suddenly feels lighter than the whispered "don't leave" from his sister. "I'm riding with her," he tells the paramedics. It's not a request. As the ambulance doors close, he catches a glimpse of Reynolds, watching from the perimeter, speaking into his phone with an intensity that seems out of place for a routine fire call. In 2 decades of working together, James has never seen that expression on his captain's face before. The ambulance pulls away from the burning mansion, but James can't shake the feeling that they're driving deeper into darkness rather than away from it. Sarah's eyes are closed now, her breathing steadied by supplemental oxygen, but her grip on his hand hasn't loosened. He studies her face, noting the changes a decade has carved into her features. She'd been 23 when she vanished. A recent college graduate with dreams of becoming a journalist. Now fine lines bracket her mouth, and a small scar interrupts her left eyebrow, marking stories he wasn't there to witness. His free hand moves to his chest, fingers brushing the badge that's been his anchor through years of searching. How many times had he flashed it at police stations, hoping his status as a fellow first responder would prompt them to look harder for his sister? How many nights had he sat in his empty house, polishing its surface while reviewing missing persons reports, following leads that always went cold? The ambulance hits a pothole, and Sarah's eyes flutter open, wild with panic, until they find his, a face. "You're safe," he tells her, the words tasting like ash in his mouth. Safe. As if he has any right to make that promise after failing to protect her for 10 years. But as the city lights blur past the ambulance windows, James Carter makes a silent vow. This time will be different. This time he won't let go. The hospital waiting room stands empty at 3 in the morning, its institutional green walls a stark contrast to the opulent mansion James had pulled Sarah from hours earlier. A decade-old family photo stares back at him from his wallet, Sarah's college graduation day. Their last photo together. She's beaming at the camera, diploma in hand, while he stands proud in his dress uniform. Their mother had insisted he wear it. "Mr. Carter," a nurse's voice breaks through his reverie. "Your sister's initial examination is complete. Dr. Chen would like to speak with you." The walk to the doctor's office feels like traversing a timeline of failures. Each step brings back another memory of the investigation that went nowhere. The missing persons report filed 24 hours too late because the police insisted on waiting. The detective who suggested Sarah had simply started a new life without telling anyone. The weeks of searching that turned into months of dead. Ends Dr. Chen, a woman with silver-streaked hair and kind eyes, gestures to a chair. "Your sister is stable, but..." She pauses, choosing her words carefully. "There are signs of long-term trauma, physical and psychological." James's hands clench into fists. "How long?" "Based on the healing patterns of various injuries." "Years." "Mr. Carter, I should warn you, when she regains consciousness, she may not be ready to talk about what happened." The words take him back to his divorce 5 years ago. Clara couldn't understand why he kept pushing, kept searching when everyone else had moved on. "You're obsessed," she'd said, packing her bags. "I can't compete with a ghost." But Sarah hadn't been a ghost. She'd been alive, suffering, while he slept in his comfortable house every night. "There's something else," Dr. Chen continues. "We found needle marks, evidence of forced sedation. Whoever held her wasn't taking any chances with escape attempts." The implication hits him like a collapsing beam. This wasn't a random crime. Someone had invested time, money, and medical knowledge in keeping Sarah captive. The same someone who likely owned that mansion, who had connections enough to hide her for a decade in plain sight. "The police will want to interview her," Dr. Chen says. "No." The word comes out sharper than intended. "Not yet." He thinks of Captain Reynolds' strange phone call, of all the times the original investigation hit mysterious roadblocks. She needs time to feel safe first. Dr. Chen studies him for a long moment before nodding. "I'll hold them off as long as I can. Medical privacy laws are on our side for now." Back in the hallway, James pulls out his phone, scrolling through decade-old text messages he never deleted. The last one from Sarah. "Big story breaking. Might have to rain-check dinner. Love you, big bro." He'd been angry about the cancelled plans, had sent back a terse whatever. Such a stupid thing to regret for 10 years. A movement at the end of the hall catches his eye. A man in an expensive suit speaking to a nurse, showing what looks like a badge. The nurse points toward Dr. Chen's office, but the man's attention shifts to James. Their eyes meet briefly before the stranger turns and walks away, his shoes clicking. Purposefully on the linoleum floor, James memorizes every detail. The tailored cut of the suit, the confident posture, the way other hospital staff seem to shrink away as he passes. Something about the man's presence feels wrong, like smoke where There shouldn't be any. His phone buzzes with a text from Captain Reynolds. Need your statement. Standard procedure. Standard procedure. Nothing about this night has been standard. James puts his phone away without responding and heads for Sarah's room. Through the window, he watches her sleep, her face peaceful for the first time since he found her. A nurse has washed the soot from her skin and bandaged her wrists where the silk scarves cut deep. He settles into the chair beside her bed, prepared for a long vigil. This time, he won't let her disappear. This time, he'll protect her, no matter what it costs him. Because the hardest lesson of firefighting isn't about battling flames, it's about living with the ones you couldn't save. Dawn breaks over the hospital parking lot as Captain Reynolds' department SUV pulls up beside James's truck. The sight of the internal affairs file tucked under his superior's arm sends a familiar chill down James's spine. In 25 years, he's never seen Reynolds handle paperwork personally, especially not at 6 in the morning. You ignored direct orders last night, Reynolds says, his usual friendly demeanor replaced by something harder. Left your post during an active fire. My sister was in there, Cap. James watches Reynolds' face carefully. My missing sister. Jesus, Carter. Reynolds runs a hand through his gray hair. Why didn't you say something over the radio? Because I needed time to think. James gestures to the file. What's that? Incident report. Arson investigations already closing the case. Electrical fire, they're saying. Simple accident. Accident? James's voice drops to a whisper. They haven't even processed the scene. Reynolds glances around the empty parking lot before stepping closer. Listen to me carefully, James. I've got the commissioner breathing down my neck, ordering me to fast-track this. Whatever you found in there, whoever you found, it's bigger than us. She's my sister, and I've got retirement in 2 years. Wife, grandkids, pension. Reynolds' face softens. Sometimes things are better left alone. The words hit James like a betrayal. He thinks of the man in the expensive suit, of Dr. Chen's clinical description of years of abuse. They tortured her, Cap, for 10 years. Lower your voice. Reynolds shoves the file against James's chest. Sign it. Take 2 weeks paid leave. Go be with your sister. Let this one go. Like you let go of the Richardson warehouse fire. James watches his captain stiffen. 3 years ago, $1 million property, evidence of accelerant. You buried that report too. Careful, Carter. Who owns the mansion, Cap? Because I checked county records on my phone last night. Properties held by a shell corporation. Same, one that owned the Richardson warehouse. Reynolds' face drains of color. You've got a good reputation, James. Stellar service record. Don't throw it away chasing conspiracies. Then help me do this right. Full investigation by the book. There is no book for this. Reynolds looks suddenly old, defeated. Sign the report, please, while you still can. James takes the file, but doesn't open it. You know who they are, don't you? The people behind this? Go home, Carter. Kiss your sister. Be grateful you got her back. Some people... Reynolds swallows hard. Some people never get that chance. The captain turns to leave, but pauses. I'm sorry, James. Truly. But whatever you think you're going to find, don't, for everyone's sake. James watches his captain drive away, the internal affairs file heavy in his hands. Inside, he knows he'll find a neatly typed narrative explaining away everything that happened last night. No mention of restraints, no record of Sarah's condition, nothing to suggest anything but a routine rescue from an accidental fire. He thinks of Sarah sleeping upstairs, of the needle marks Dr. Chen documented, of 10 years stolen by people powerful. Enough to make a veteran fire captain tremble. The file falls into a nearby trash can. I need a favor, he texts his old friend Detective Martinez. Off the books. The response comes quickly. Dangerous words these days. Coffee, usual place? James looks up at the hospital windows, remembering Reynolds' warning. The right thing and the safe thing rarely align perfectly, but he didn't become a firefighter by choosing safety over service. 1 hour, he texts back. His phone buzzes again. Another message from an unknown number. Your sister is safe now. Don't make us regret leaving witnesses alive. James screenshots the message before it disappears, his hands steady despite the implied threat. They're watching then. Good. Let them see him. Let them wonder if it would have been smarter to let the fire finish what they started. Because they don't know what every firefighter learns. Sometimes the most dangerous part of a fire isn't the flames. It's the slow burn that follows, eating away at everything in its path until nothing remains but truth and ashes. The coffee in James's paper cup has gone cold, untouched during his hour-long wait for Detective Martinez. His attention remains fixed on Sarah's medical chart, smuggled out by a sympathetic nurse. The clinical language can't mask the horror. Beneath, multiple healed fractures, evidence of prolonged restraint, systematic sedation, malnutrition consistent with controlled food restriction. His phone buzzes. Martinez. Can't make it. Been pulled from active duty. We need to talk. Not here, not now. Watch your back. A soft knock draws his attention. Dr. Chen stands in the doorway of Sarah's room. She's awake and asking for you. James sets down the chart with trembling hands. Sarah sits propped up in bed, sunlight from the window casting harsh shadows across her too thin face. Her eyes, once bright with youth and ambition, now hold a watchfulness that makes his chest ache. Hey, little sister, he manages. You look old, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. A ghost of her old smile touches her lips. You should see yourself. He tries to match her tone, but fails. I have. Mirror in the bathroom. She touches, her face gingerly. 10 years, they tell me. Sometimes I wasn't sure if it was longer. James pulls his chair closer, careful to telegraph his movements. Sarah, I never stopped. I know. She cuts him off. I saw the missing person. Flyers. They showed them to me sometimes. Said no one would ever find me. Her hands twist in the sheets. They were wrong about that part at least. Who are they? The question burns in his throat. Sarah's eyes dart to the door, then the window. Powerful. People, the kind that own judges, politicians, the kind that can make people disappear and no one asks questions. She laughs, a hollow sound. Did you know I was investigating campaign finance fraud when they took me? Following money through shell companies, offshore accounts? I thought I was so clever. James thinks of the shell corporation that owns the mansion, of Reynolds's warnings. The story you were working on, the night you disappeared. I got too close, found connections I wasn't supposed to find. But that wasn't, she swallows hard, that wasn't why they kept me. They saw an opportunity, used me for entertainment, for their friends, people with specific tastes, people who could pay. The words land like physical blows. James grips the bed rail to steady himself. There were others, she continues, her voice growing stronger, girls mostly, sometimes boys. They'd keep us drugged, compliant, move us between properties. The mansion was just one of many. How did you end up there last night? Special event. Someone important coming to town. They needed to impress. She stops abruptly as a nurse enters with medication. They wait in tense silence until they're alone again. Sarah's hands haven't stopped moving, twisting the sheets, touching her face, as if reassuring herself she's really free. The fire, James prompts gently. Was it them? Had to be. They never leave witnesses. When the alarms went off, I heard them talking. Someone gave an order to clean up. I thought, her voice breaks, I thought that was it, that they were finally going to kill me. Instead, they left you. Maybe they thought the fire would do their work. Maybe something spooked them. I don't know. Everything after the alarms is fuzzy. They keep us on drugs, James. So many drugs. A noise in the hallway makes her flinch. James reaches for her hand, but stops when she pulls back. Sorry, she whispers. It's not you. I need time. Whatever you need, I'm here. No. Her voice turns sharp. You need to go, now, before they realize their mistake. I'm not leaving you alone. You don't understand. These people, they own everything, everyone. That captain you work for, probably on their payroll. The police, definitely compromised. They'll come for me again, and when they do, they'll have to go through me first, like they went through Tom. The name hits him like ice water. Tom Chen, Sarah's college boyfriend, found dead in an apparent mugging 2 days after she vanished. They'll kill you, James, just like they killed him when he wouldn't stop asking questions. James thinks of the threatening text message, of Martinez's sudden removal from duty. Then we'll need help. People we can trust. There's no one. Sarah's voice cracks. No one except... Except? She glances at the door again before lowering her voice. There was a nurse at one of the other houses. She helped some girls escape. Maria. She tried to help me too, but they caught her. I thought they killed her. But last month, I overheard them. She's alive, underground, still helping others. Do you know how to find her? Maybe there was a system, safe houses, signs. Sarah's eyes grow distant. But James, if they catch you looking, they won't. He stands, decision made. I'm taking 2 weeks leave from the department. Official story is I'm helping my traumatized sister recover. Unofficially, you'll get yourself killed. Maybe. He manages a smile. But I didn't spend 25 years running into burning buildings because I was afraid of getting hurt. Sarah studies him for a long moment. The nurse who helped me, who got me these records. She's one of yours, isn't she? Lisa, 20 years on the job. Lost her daughter to trafficking 5 years ago. Body never found. And Detective Martinez, the one who couldn't make your meeting? His brother disappeared in '98, case went cold. Understanding dawns in Sarah's eyes. You've been building a network all this time, waiting for a break, for proof. He takes her chart from the side table. Now we have both. It won't be enough, not against them. No, he agrees, but it's a start. Get some rest. I'll be back tonight. At the door, her voice stops him. James, that night, the dinner I cancelled. I was going to tell you what I'd found if I had just... Don't. He turns back. We can't change the past, but we can make damn sure they don't have a future. As he walks to his truck, James's phone buzzes one more time. Another unknown number. Final warning. Walk away. He texts back a single word. No. Because some fires aren't meant to be contained. Some fires need to burn until there's nothing left but justice. The encrypted USB drive feels impossibly small in James's hand as he sits in his truck outside St. Michael's Church. 3 hours have passed since he left the hospital, each minute spent following the protocol Lisa had drilled into him years. Ego, switch vehicles twice, check for tails, no phones, no cards, cash only. The church's afternoon AA meeting provides perfect cover, just another troubled soul seeking redemption. He slips inside, taking a seat in the back pew. Right on cue, a janitor pushes his cart past, dropping a manila envelope by James's feet. Inside the envelope, Detective Martinez's handwriting sprawls across a single page. Storage Unit 23, Airport Road, code 5591. Go now. They're moving fast. The storage facility is deserted when James arrives. Unit 23 contains only a battered filing cabinet and a laptop that's seen better days. The USB drive clicks into place, and suddenly Sarah's last investigation floods the screen. Financial records, property deeds, offshore accounts. But it's the photo folder that stops his heart. Pictures of parties, high society gatherings. Powerful faces caught in unguarded moments with young women whose vacant eyes tell a different story than their forced smiles. In one photo, he recognizes the man from the hospital, the one in the expensive suit. The metadata tags him as Senator William Morrison. His phone vibrates. Lisa. They're cleaning house, 3 fires in the last hour, properties linked to your shell corporation. James downloads everything to a secure drive. Any casualties? No. Empty buildings. They're destroying evidence or sending a message. He thinks of Sarah's words about other properties, other victims. I need you to run names through the hospital database. Look for patterns, drug overdoses, suspicious accidents. Focus on young women, college age. Already did. You need to see this. A file appears on his screen, admission records spanning a decade. Dozens of Jane Does with similar injuries, similar drug panels, all transferred to private facilities that don't exist. Jesus, he breathes. There's more. That nurse Sarah mentioned. Maria? I found her. Or at least I found where she's been operating. Underground clinic in the old factory district, off-books treatment for girls who can't go to regular hospitals. Address? James. Lisa hesitates. These people, they've got reach we can't imagine. Morrison's just the tip. There are judges, police chiefs, corporate executives, all the more reason to burn it down. He starts the truck. Send me the address. Be careful. Maria's paranoid, and with good reason. You'll need a password to get in. Which is? Phoenix. Rising. And James, she only helps women. You show up as a man, especially a first responder. I know someone she'll trust more than me. He puts the truck in gear. Time to get Sarah out of that hospital. The drive back feels different now. Every traffic camera could be watching. Every passing car could be following. The weight of the evidence on the secure drive burns in his pocket like hot coal. His phone rings. Unknown number. Against protocol, he answers. You're persistent, Mr. Carter. The voice is cultured calm, Senator Morrison. I admire that in a civil servant. But you're pushing into matters beyond your comprehension. I comprehend just fine, Senator. The photos make things pretty clear. A soft laugh. Photos can be manipulated. Records can be altered. Witnesses. A pause. Witnesses can recant or disappear. Again. Touch her and You'll what? Burn down my world. Look around you, Mr. Carter. My world is fireproof. But yours, your sister's, how much heat do you think they can take? James's grip tightens on the steering wheel. You're not the first powerful man I've seen fall. No, but I might be the last you see fall. Think about that. You have 24 hours to surrender the drive and sign a non-disclosure agreement. After that, the line goes dead. At a red light, James pulls out his phone and types a message to Lisa. Plan B, now. Because if there's one thing firefighters know, it's that even fireproof buildings can burn if you know where to plant the accelerant. The charity gala guest list glows on Lisa's tablet as she sits beside Sarah's hospital bed. James watches his sister's face as she scrolls through the names, noting every flinch, every moment of recognition. Each reaction is a wound that makes his hands curl into fists. This one. Sarah's finger trembles as she points to a name. Gregory. Thane. He owns the mansion. But it's not just him. They all took turns hosting. Lisa documents each name Sarah identifies, her nurse's composure cracking only when she recognizes a hospital board member among them. Explains why certain records kept disappearing, she mutters. Sarah's memory returns in fragments, each piece more horrifying than the last. The parties were elaborate. They'd dress us up, parade us around. Sometimes they'd auction. She stops, breathing hard. Take your time, James says. But Sarah shakes her head. No, you need to know. They'd auction off private sessions, like we were racehorses or something. The highest bidders. Her voice fails. Lisa adjusts Sarah's IV drip, adding a mild sedative. That's enough for now, but Sarah grabs her wrist. Wait, there's something else. The basement of Thane's mansion, there's a safe, hidden behind a wine rack. I saw them opening it once. They keep records. Insurance, they called it. Blackmail material on everyone involved. James exchanges looks with Lisa. That's why they tried to burn it down. But if the fire didn't reach the basement, the evidence could still be there, Lisa finishes. But the scene's cordoned off. Official investigation. Not for me. James checks his watch. I'm still officially on duty for another hour. My turnout gear is in the truck. It's too dangerous, Sarah protests. They'll be watching. That's counting on it. He pulls out his phone, showing them Morrison's threat. They gave me 24 hours. They'll expect me to run, to hide, not to walk right back into the fire. Lisa's expression hardens. I'll call my contact at the evidence warehouse. Get you a reason to be on scene, James. Sarah's voice is small. What if it's another trap? He takes her hand, noting how she doesn't flinch from his touch now. Progress. Then we'll be ready. Lisa's got a safe house prepared. Maria's people are standing by. One way or another, this ends tonight. Why? The question catches him off guard. Why risk everything? You got me back. We could just leave. Start over somewhere. James thinks of the photos on the USB drive. Of all the other vacant eyes staring at cameras at elegant parties. Of Lisa's daughter still missing. Because you taught me something, little sister. Back when you were chasing that story. Sometimes the truth is more important than safety. Sarah's eyes fill with tears. I was stupid back then, reckless. You were brave, still are. He squeezes her hand. Get some rest. Lisa will stay with you. And if you don't come back, then Maria has everything we've gathered. Dead man's switch. It all goes public in 24 hours unless I stop it. Lisa hands him a burner phone. Check in every hour. Miss one call, I hit the switch early. In the hallway, he pauses at the sight of a uniformed police officer stationed by the elevator. The officer nods respectfully, just routine protection for a victim of violent crime. But James notices how the man's hand rests near his weapon, how his eyes track every movement. His phone buzzes. Morrison again. 18 hours left, Mr. Carter. Tick-tock. James sends back a photo, the senator with a young woman at one of Thane's parties. The response is immediate. You're playing a dangerous game. No, he types back. I'm ending it, because that's the thing about fires. Once they start spreading, all you can do is choose what burns first. The burner phone feels foreign in James's hands as he waits in the empty parking garage. Rebecca Chen, no relation to the doctor, arrives exactly on time, her press credentials swinging from her neck like a challenge. She's spent 15 years investigating corruption for the Chronicle, and it shows in the practiced way she surveys the garage for watchers. My editor's dead, she says without preamble. Car accident this morning. Brake lines cut. James hands her a coffee. You think it's connected? I know it is. She pulls out her own burner phone, showing him a text message. He was sitting on a story. Something big about political donations, shell companies. Sound familiar? Sarah's investigation. 10 years ago. Rebecca nods grimly. He finally found the missing pieces, called me last night, said he had proof of where the money was really going. Then she makes a slashing motion across her throat. They're tying up loose ends, James says. 3 properties burned down yesterday, evidence disappearing. Not all of it. She reaches into her bag, producing a thick manila envelope. My editor was paranoid, had a failsafe. If he didn't enter a code every 12 hours, files automatically sent to secure servers. Offshore, untouchable. James examines the printouts, bank statements, property records, names that make his blood run cold. This goes higher than Morrison, all the way to the governor's office. Rebecca's voice drops. But that's not the worst part. Look at the police department transfers. The numbers tell a story that makes his stomach turn. Regular payments, routed through dozens of shell companies, landing in accounts belonging to high-ranking officers, including the chief. Your cop friend Martinez, Rebecca continues. He started asking questions about these payments 2 days ago. Now he's on administrative leave. They're watching him? Worse. His wife called me. He never came home last night. James thinks of the officer outside Sarah's hospital room. Of how many other corrupted officials might be watching, waiting. I need to get back to my sister. About that. Rebecca pulls out one final document. Your captain filed paperwork this morning. Mandatory psychiatric evaluation. Claims you're unstable, obsessed with conspiracy theories. They're coming for your badge, James. Let them try. You don't understand. Once they take your badge, you lose access to the mansion crime scene, to official channels, to everything. Then we move now. He shows her Sarah's intel about the basement safe. One last chance to get what we need. Rebecca studies the building plans she somehow obtained. Security's tight. Crime scene or not, they've got private contractors watching the place. I can get in. Fire marshal authority still trumps private security. But I'll need a distraction. A slow smile spreads across Rebecca's face. How do you feel about protests? What kind? The kind where concerned citizens demand answers about suspicious fires in historic buildings. The kind that draws media attention and police resources. How fast can you mobilize? Give me 2 hours. My editor wasn't the only one with connections. She stands, then hesitates. James, if this goes wrong... I know, we never met. No. She hands him a small card. If this goes wrong, call this number. Ask for Phoenix. They can make people disappear. The right people this time. The burner phone buzzes. Lisa. Problem. Sarah's gone. Ice floods his veins. What? Doctor ordered a transfer. Paperwork looked perfect, but the hospital she's supposedly at doesn't exist. Rebecca reads the text over his shoulder. They're moving faster than we thought. No, James is already moving. They're forcing my hand, making me choose between the evidence and my sister. You can't do both. Watch me. He pulls out the phone Morrison's been using to contact him. Types, New Deal, 1 hour, face-to-face. The response is immediate. Brave but foolish. Where? James. Thinks of Sarah's words about the basement safe, about insurance policies and blackmail. Thane's mansion, just you and me, or everything I have goes public in 60 minutes. A longer pause this time. Finally, agreed. 1 hour. Come alone. Rebecca grabs his arm. It's a trap. Count on it. He shows her the phone's screen, where he's already typed out detailed instructions. Which is why you're going to be my insurance policy, because sometimes the only way to fight fire is with fire, and James Carter is ready to burn it all down. The Thane Foundation's charity documents spread across Rebecca's laptop screen as they sit in her news van, parked a block from the mansion. Perfect rows of numbers, all perfectly legal on the surface. Art auctions, fundraising galas, cancer research donations. Look at the pattern, Rebecca says, highlighting transactions. Every major event corresponds with a girl going missing. They weren't just parties, they were sales. James studies the guest lists, matching faces to the photos from Sarah's USB drive. The Foundation's real business was providing entertainment for donors. More than that. Rebecca pulls up property records. Every victim had a connection to one of their legitimate businesses. Sarah was investigating their finances. Lisa's daughter interned at their law firm. Martinez's brother worked security at their downtown office. They were hunting grounds. The realization hits James like a physical blow. They used job interviews, internships, charity events to identify vulnerable targets, people with potential but without strong family connections, people who wouldn't be missed. She gestures at another document. And look who's on the Foundation's board of directors. The list reads like a who's who of city power players, police commissioner, district attorney, 3 judges, the mayor's wife. Everyone who could shut down an investigation, James mutters. His burner phone vibrates. Lisa, Maria found something. Medical supply orders, regular shipments of sedatives to private clinics, all owned by shell companies. The transfer destinations, James realizes. That's where they're taking Sarah. Rebecca checks her watch. 30 minutes until your meeting with Morrison. You still think he'll show? He has to. The safe in that basement doesn't just have evidence about the trafficking. It's got proof of every bribe, every cover-up. Blackmail material on everyone involved. Insurance policy. Mutual assured destruction. If one goes down, they all do. James pulls out his fire marshal badge, possibly for the last time. That's why they're burning properties, cleaning house, but they missed the one thing they couldn't burn. The safe. Fireproof, waterproof, probably survived the fire intact. Morrison has to make sure I don't get to it. Rebecca's police scanner, Sue. Crackles. Multiple units responding to protest activity near Thane Mansion. Crowd control requested. Right on schedule. James checks his equipment one last time. You know what to do? She holds up her phone, showing the dead man's switch app. 20 minutes after you go in. If you don't send the all clear, everything goes public. All their files, all their secrets. And the backup plan? Teams in position. First sign of trouble, they move on the clinics, all of them. James nods, thinking of Maria's underground network, of all the people waiting for justice. If this works, when this works, Rebecca corrects, they'll try to bury it. Call it a local crime ring. Isolated incident, she smiles grimly. That's why I've got reporters from 3 national networks standing by. Once this breaks, there's no putting the fire out. His phone buzzes one last time. Morrison. Time's up. Front gate. Now. James steps out of the van, adjusting his fire. Marshal's uniform. The weight of his badge feels different now. Not a symbol of authority anymore. A key to unlock one final door. James. Rebecca's voice stops him. Your sister. What she was investigating 10 years ago. It wasn't just campaign finance fraud. She found this. All of it. That's why they took her. I know. He thinks of Sarah's words in the hospital about getting too close to the truth. She was always the brave one. Must run in the family. The mansion looms ahead, its burned facade a stark monument to corruption. Police lights flash at the gathering protest, keeping the crowd back, creating a stage for what's about to happen. Because that's the thing about perfect facades. Once they start cracking, they don't just fall, they shatter. The security camera footage plays on James's phone as he approaches the mansion's front gate. Grainy images show Captain Reynolds entering the property 2 hours before the fire, accompanied by men in expensive suits. The timestamp matches Sarah's story perfectly. Morrison waits at the gate, flanked by private security. Even now he maintains the polished appearance of a public servant. Tailored suit, perfect smile, practiced concern. Only his eyes betray the predator beneath. Marshal Carter. Morrison gestures at the protest down the street. Quite a scene you've created. Just concerned citizens, Senator, wanting answers about all these convenient fires. Cut the act, Reynolds. Steps out from behind a pillar, still wearing his fire captain's uniform like a costume. It's over, James. The betrayal stings less than it should. How long, Cap? How many girls disappeared while you looked the other way? You don't understand. They owned me before I even knew who they were. Reynolds' voice cracks. One mistake. One party where I drank too much, did things. They had it all on video. So you helped them do worse to others. I protected my family, like you protected Lisa's daughter, Martinez's brother, my sister. Morrison's smile widens. Ah, yes, Sarah. Such a persistent young reporter. But she's learned her lesson now, hasn't she? 10 years can change a person. James's hands clench. Where is she? Safe. For now. The evidence, please. Basement first. I want to see the safe. You're not in a position to make demands, Morrison says, but Reynolds interrupts. Let him see. He needs to understand how deep this goes, why he can't win. The mansion's interior is a maze of charred walls and water damage. Fire crews did their job well, everywhere except the basement. That door shows no sign of forced entry, no water damage. You made sure this level was protected, James says to Reynolds. Didn't you? Orders. The captain won't meet his eyes. Some things aren't meant to burn. The wine cellar looks untouched. Morrison moves with practiced ease through the racks, finding the hidden panel. The safe door swings open silently. 20 years of insurance, Morrison says proudly. Every judge we own, every cop on payroll, every politician's dirty secret, even your captain's indiscretions. And the girls? The ones you sold? Product records. Can't run a business without proper inventory. The casual cruelty hits harder than any flame. James thinks of Sarah's vacant eyes in those party photos, of all the lives treated like merchandise. The USB drive, Morrison demands, and your sister goes free. Everyone goes home happy. Almost everyone. James pulls out his phone, showing them the security footage. Did you know about the cameras, Cap? The ones Lisa installed last month during routine maintenance? Reynolds pales. What? Funny thing about evidence. It's like fire. Spreads fast. When you know where to plant it. Morrison's smile finally cracks. Kill him! But Reynolds hesitates, gun half raised. Senator, if he's backed up the footage. He's bluffing. Do it. Am I? James holds up his fire marshal badge. Look closer, Cap, at the serial number. Reynolds squints, then freezes. That's not your badge. No, it's Martinez's. The one he was wearing when he disappeared last night, after he found proof of every bribe you ever took. The sound of breaking glass upstairs shatters the tension. Morrison's phone buzzes. Sir, a panicked voice reports. Federal agents at all exits. They're carrying warrants. You wore a wire. Morrison's composure finally breaks. This whole time? No. James smiles grimly. I didn't have to, because 10 years ago, my sister hid one in this room, behind that wine rack, running on backup power all this time, recording every meeting, every deal. She wasn't just investigating campaign finance, Senator. She was gathering evidence on all of you. The basement door bursts open. Federal agents flood in, weapons raised. Rebecca follows, camera rolling. This is what justice looks like, she says into her microphone. Live from the scene of the largest human trafficking bust in state history. Morrison lunges for the safe, but Reynolds, finally choosing a side, tackles him. James! Rebecca tosses him her phone. Maria found her. 3rd clinic on the list. She's alive. Because sometimes the deepest betrayals hide the seeds of redemption. And sometimes the truth burns brighter than any flame. Maria's safe house crouches at the edge of the industrial district, a former textile factory converted into an underground shelter. James finds Sarah in the medical wing, a hidden journal, clutched to her chest. Her hands are steady now, her eyes clearer. I knew you'd figure it out, she says as he enters. About the wire. 10 years, Sarah, recording everything, had to make it mean something. She pats the journal. All those years I kept records, names, dates, conversations they thought I was too drugged to remember. Maria helped me hide it all. Maria herself appears in the doorway, a small woman with steel-grey hair and burned scars on her hands. Your sister never broke, even when they... She stops at Sarah's slight headshake. The other girls, James asks. Safe, Maria's voice. Carries the weight of countless rescues. We've evacuated all our locations. 23 survivors so far. More coming in as the raids continue. Sarah opens the journal, revealing pages of meticulous notes. I wasn't the only one gathering evidence. Every girl who could... We passed information, whispered names between transports, memorized faces at parties. A resistance, James realizes. More like survivors refusing to stay victims. She turns to a specific page. Remember that night? The dinner I cancelled? You were going to tell me what you'd found. No. Her hands tremble slightly. I was going to give you this. She pulls out a sealed envelope, yellowed with age. I knew they were closing in. Had it ready just in case. Maria's been keeping it safe all these years. Inside, James finds detailed records of shell companies, property holdings, political connections, everything needed to expose the operation. You knew they'd come for you. Knew I couldn't run forever. So I left breadcrumbs, the wire in the basement, this file. Hoped someone would follow them eventually. Your backup plan. You were always my backup plan. She manages a small smile. The big brother who never stopped looking. Maria returns with medical supplies. The FBI wants statements from anyone who can give them, but only when they're ready. Sarah's grip tightens on the journal. I'm ready. Been ready for 10 years. A commotion outside draws their attention. Through the window, They watch as black SUVs arrive, disgorging more survivors. Young women supporting each other, some barely able to walk. James recognizes one face, Lisa's daughter, Emily. Another, Martinez's brother, Miguel, alive after all these years. How? He asks Maria. Underground railroad, she explains. Sympathetic nurses, former victims who made it out. We built a network, bit by bit. Every time they thought they'd buried someone too deep to find, we dug them out. Sarah stands, stronger than she's looked since the fire. Show him! Maria leads them through a hidden door into a vast room filled with filing cabinets. Our insurance policy, every victim they thought they'd silenced, every crime they thought they'd hidden, all documented, all preserved. The real safe, Sarah says quietly. Not the one in the basement. That was just theater, for them to feel secure. James examines the nearest cabinet. Each folder contains a complete history, photographs, medical records, witness statements, a decade of corruption and cruelty meticulously archived. The FBI's been working with us for months, Maria continues. Building a case, your sisters, wire recordings were the final piece, proof of direct involvement by Morrison and the others. But the fire at the mansion was them panicking. They found one of our bugs, thought they could destroy the evidence. Sarah's voice carries a hint of satisfaction. They never knew about this place, about all the copies we kept. A young woman appears in the doorway, face bruised but determined. They're ready for you, Sarah. The federal prosecutors want to talk. Sarah squeezes James's hand. Come with me. Always. As they follow the woman out, Maria calls after them. Remember what we say here, the truth is like fire. Sarah finishes the phrase, it only needs one spark to light the way home, because sometimes the deepest darkness hides the strongest lights, and sometimes survival itself is an act of revolution. The old case files lay spread across Maria's desk, their father's handwriting jumping off the yellowed pages. Detective Michael Carter's last investigation before his accident 15 years ago. James stares at the familiar scrawl, remembering how his father would work late into the night, muttering about connections no one else could see. I found these yesterday, Maria says softly, hidden in one of the oldest files. Your father, he was closer than anyone knew. Sarah traces their father's signature with trembling fingers. All this time, he was investigating them too. The evidence is undeniable. Property records matching the shell companies, financial trails leading to the same offshore accounts, notes about missing persons cases that seemed unconnected at the time. Look at the dates, James says, pointing to a timeline their father had constructed. 3 months before his car crash, he was tracking political donations through the Thane Foundation. Just like I was, Sarah whispers, but I never knew, never made the connection. Maria pulls out another file, the official police report of Michael Carter's death. Single vehicle accident, brake failure on Mountain View Road. Body was too badly burned for open casket. No, James's voice is hoarse. No, that's not the medical examiner. Sarah grabs one of their father's notes. Look who signed. Off on the autopsy, Dr. Gregory Thane. The same Thane who owned the mansion where they kept me. Sarah's hands clench into fists. They killed him, James, because he found them out. And then they came for me when I got too close to the... Same truth. James remembers that funeral. Closed casket. His father's partner, Detective Reynolds, now Captain Reynolds, delivering the eulogy, talking about tragic accidents and dedication to duty. Reynolds knew, he realizes. He was Dad's partner. He had to know. Maria nods grimly. According to these notes, your father suspected corruption in the department, was building a case quietly. Reynolds was one of the names he'd highlighted. But why? Sarah's voice breaks. Why didn't he tell us, warn us? Because he was protecting you. Maria pulls out one final document, a letter, sealed, but never sent, addressed to both of them. James reads aloud, his father's voice echoing in His memory, James, Sarah, if you're reading this, I've failed. The truth I'm pursuing is bigger and darker than I imagined. It reaches into every corner of our city, police, politicians, judges. They take people, break them, sell them, and they kill anyone who gets close to exposing them. I've encrypted the real evidence, hidden it where they won't look. But I can't risk telling you more. Knowledge is a death sentence in this case. James, I've watched you run into burning buildings without hesitation. Sarah, your pursuit of truth makes me proud. Every day. But this fire, this truth, it could consume you both. I love you too much to let that happen. If anything happens to me, stay away from this case. Live your lives. Be happy. But if you do find this, if you've already been drawn in, remember what I taught you. The hottest. Fires forge the strongest steel. Love, Dad. Sarah wipes tears from her eyes. He was trying to save us, and he died for it. James stares at the accident report. They made it look like an accident, just like they tried with the mansion fire. They have a pattern. Maria starts laying out more files. Every major investigation that got close. Tragic accidents, car crashes, house fires, gas leaks. Until now. Sarah's voice hardens. Until we broke the pattern. A knock at the door makes them all jump. Rebecca enters looking grim. You need to see this. We found something in Morrison's private records. She plays a video on her laptop. Security footage from 15 years ago. Mountain View Road. A dark car following their father's vehicle. A flash of light underneath. The crash. They kept it, Sarah breathes. As insurance. Morrison's own protection, Rebecca confirms. Proof of everyone's complicity. The senator himself gave the order. James watches the footage again. The father he lost. The sister he almost lost. The truth that burned beneath the surface for 15 years. Reynolds was there that night. He points to a figure in the background, watching his partner die, following orders. Like he followed orders at the mansion. Sarah's voice is steel, setting the fire, trying to bury the evidence again. Maria closes their father's file gently. What do you want to do? James looks at Sarah, sees the same determination in her eyes that their father had. We finish it. All of it, no more accidents, no more covered-up crimes. The FBI has Morrison, Rebecca adds. He's offering deals, naming names. Not good enough. Sarah picks up their father's letter. They don't get to hide behind plea bargains, not after everything they've done. We go public, James decides. Every file, every victim story, every cover-up. It'll burn the whole system down, Maria warns. Sarah takes her brother's hand. Then we'll build something better from the ashes. Because sometimes the hardest truth to face is the one that's been staring back at you all along. And sometimes justice demands more than just putting out fires. It demands lighting new ones. The building plans cover an entire wall of Maria's command center, detailed layouts of every property connected to the Thane Foundation. Red pins mark confirmed trafficking locations. Blue pins show safe houses. Yellow pins indicate potential targets still under surveillance. 6 more warrants just came through, Rebecca announces, hanging up her phone. FBI's moving on the riverside. Properties tonight. James studies the pattern of pins, seeing them through a firefighter's eyes. They're not just hiding places, they're escape routes. Every property has multiple exits, underground access. Like rats in a maze, Sarah adds. Her voice stronger now that she's back in investigative mode. I counted 12 different ways out of the mansion's basement, found most of them the hard way. Maria marks new locations on the map. Latest intel from the rescued girls, 3 more properties we didn't know about. Private clinics like the one they took you to, Sarah. How many survivors total, James asks. 47 so far, 16 willing to testify. Maria's face shows the weight of each number. More coming forward every hour as the news spreads. Lisa bursts in, waving a stack of papers. Hospital records match. Every clinic, every transfer. They didn't even bother hiding the paperwork, just buried it in bureaucracy. Hiding in plain sight, Rebecca muses, like the foundation itself. Sarah points to a cluster of properties. Around the harbour. Focus here first. These were their prime locations, where they held their special merchandise. The clinical term makes her voice crack slightly. James squeezes her shoulder. How many inside? At least 10 girls, based on what I overheard before the fire. She straightens. But they'll be moving them now, after what happened at the mansion. That's what we're counting on. Maria unveils another map, this one showing traffic cameras and police checkpoints. They'll use their usual transport routes, medical vans, private ambulances, but this time we'll be waiting. James examines the escape corridors. How many people can you mobilize? My network has eyes on every corner. Nurses, doctors, social workers. People they never suspected because they thought they were too small to matter. Rebecca adds her own markers to the map. Press teams stationed here, here, and here. Live coverage the moment it starts. No chance for them to spin the story. And the FBI? Sarah asks, waiting for our signal. Maria holds up a secure phone. They've given us 2 hours to get our people in position. Then they move. James checks his watch. Timeline's tight. Has to be. Lisa points to the hospital records. These transfer orders are already in motion. They're evacuating every location tonight. Running scared, Sarah says with grim satisfaction. For the first time, they're the ones being hunted. A young survivor appears in the doorway. One of the girls Sarah helped escape. Transport spotted on 5th Street. Moving north. Maria springs into action, coordinating through her radio network. All units alert. Target vehicle entering grid 4. Stand by for intercept. This is really happening, Sarah whispers. After all these years, James watches the room transform into a war room, survivors becoming soldiers in their own liberation. Dad would be proud. He started this fight. Sarah touches their father's letter, now pinned to the wall beside the maps. We're going to finish it, because sometimes justice isn't just about putting out fires. It's about knowing exactly where to light them. And tonight, the whole city would burn with truth. Voice recordings from the mansion's hidden microphone fill the command center with ghostly conversations. Morrison's casual cruelty, Reynolds' nervous compliance, Thane's businesslike discussions of human inventory. Sarah sits with her back to the speakers, transcribing every word while James watches her hands steady with each damning revelation. Got something? Rebecca calls from her laptop. Security footage from First National. The bank manager we flipped gave us access to their private vault records. The screen shows a parade of powerful figures making late-night visits to safety deposit boxes. Judges, police officials, politicians, each leaving with identical black briefcases. Payoff schedule, Maria explains. Monthly cash distributions. To keep everyone in line. Lisa enters with fresh intelligence. 3 more transport vans spotted. They're moving everything to the harbor properties, just like Sarah predicted. Not everything. James points to a different traffic pattern on the monitors. Look at these vehicles. High-end cars heading to the airport. Sarah studies the footage. Private terminals. They're evacuating their VIP clients first. The ones who can afford to disappear. Not this time. Rebecca holds up her phone. Just got word from my contacts at Border Patrol. No private flights cleared for takeoff tonight. Mechanical issues with the control tower. Maria's network crackles with updates. Survivors positioned at every escape route. Medical teams standing by. FBI tactical units hidden in plain sight. Last chance to back out, Maria tells them. Once we trigger the raids, there's no going back. Sarah picks up their father's badge, preserved all these years. We backed out once, when Dad died. Never again. James checks his equipment one final time. Fire marshal uniform, tactical gear underneath. A wire of his own, recording everything. Morrison's not talking. Rebecca updates them. But his aide is, giving up names, dates, locations. Says there's a master list of every client, every transaction. In the harbour office, Sarah confirms. I saw them updating it. Electronic records, backed up hourly to overseas servers. Can you get us in? James asks. Better. She manages a cold smile. I memorized the passwords. Had to. They made me input the data sometimes when I was being cooperative. Lisa brings in the last piece. Medical records proving systematic abuse. Identical injury patterns across multiple victims. Same drugs, same methods. No way this was isolated. They thought if they hit us hard enough we'd stay down, Maria says softly. They never understood what survivors are made of. The command center fills with more allies. Martinez recovered from his disappearance, arm in a sling, but eyes, burning with purpose. Emily, Lisa's daughter, now coordinating with other survivors. Miguel, Martinez's brother, providing security layouts from his time working their properties. Transport Team 1 in position, the radio crackles. Surveillance units ready. Medical standing by. Press teams live in 5 minutes. Sarah looks at James. Remember when we were kids, how you'd always let me win at chess? You got better, started seeing the whole board. They think they're playing chess too, moving pieces, sacrificing pawns. But this isn't chess, James finishes. This is fire. Rebecca checks her watch. 2 minutes to first press broadcast. Once this starts, everything burns, Sarah says. Quietly, Maria hands out secure radios. All units, final check. Operation Phoenixes go in 90 seconds. James thinks of their father's letter. The hottest fires forge the strongest steel. Tonight would prove just how strong they'd become, because sometimes justice isn't served in courtrooms or backrooms. Sometimes it arrives like a flame in the night, consuming everything in its path until only truth remains. Emergency go-bags hit the ground as FBI tactical teams move into position around the harbour office. James checks his wire one last time. Thinking of Sarah's decade-long recording in the mansion basement, everything needs to be documented. Everything needs to burn in the light of truth. Target vehicle approaching, crackles through his earpiece. Black SUV, diplomatic plates. That's Thane, Sarah confirms from the command van. He always used diplomatic cover for major moves. James watches through thermal imaging as heat signatures move inside the building. Multiple subjects on the executive floor. Looks like a meeting in progress. They're consolidating, Maria's voice is grim, trying to salvage what they can before running. Rebecca's voice cuts in. Press teams broadcasting in 3, 2, 1. Across the city, television signals interrupt regular programming. Survivors telling their stories, financial records showing corruption, security footage revealing crimes, no place left to hide. FBI units ready, the tactical commander announces. On your mark, Marshal Carter. James thinks of his father's case files, of Sarah's stolen years, of every victim who never made it home. Execute. The world erupts in coordinated chaos. FBI teams breach multiple entrances, harbor patrol blocks marine escape routes, police units loyal to Martinez secure the perimeter. Movement in the stairwell, Sarah warns, watching surveillance feeds. Armed security heading up to the executive level. They're protecting the servers, James realizes. Sarah, those passwords, already on it. Remote access initiated. Downloading everything now. Gunfire erupts from the upper floors. James moves with the tactical team, his firefighter's instincts, reading the building's flow. They're funneling toward the east exit. That's not an exit, Sarah's voice is sharp. It's a trap, private elevator to the sub-basement. They'll have boats waiting. Martinez, James barks. East dock, already moving. We've got watercraft standing by. More gunfire, glass shatters. Through the thermal imaging, James watches. Heat signatures scatter like embers in the wind. Got him! Sarah's triumph carries through the radio. Thane's files, all of them, uploading to secure servers now. A familiar voice echoes down the corridor. Reynolds. You don't understand what you're doing, Carter. The people they protect, the power they have. We understand perfectly, James responds, advancing with the tactical team. That's why they're going down. Target spotted, Martinez cuts in. Thane and 3 others boarding a cigarette boat, moving to intercept. Sarah's typing is audible over the comm. Last file uploaded, evidence secured. The firefight intensifies. Private security, realizing they've lost, starting to surrender, but Reynolds' voice grows more desperate. They'll kill us all. You don't know what they're capable of. Actually, James rounds the corner to find his former captain cornered. We do. Dad knew too, didn't he? That night on Mountain View Road? Reynolds' face goes slack. Michael, he wouldn't listen either. No, James agrees. He died protecting the truth, and now everyone's going to hear it. Thane in custody, Martinez reports. Harbor secured. Servers downloaded, Sarah confirms. No way to bury this anymore. Reynolds looks at the FBI team surrounding him, at the cameras broadcasting everything live. The fight drains from his body. It really is over, isn't it? Has been for a while, James says. You just didn't know it yet. Because sometimes justice doesn't arrive with a bang, but with the quiet certainty of daylight breaking through darkness. And sometimes the biggest victories aren't won with guns or badges, but with the simple, unstoppable power of truth, finally set free. Body camera footage streams live across every major network as FBI teams make simultaneous arrests throughout the city. James watches from the Harbor Command Center as decades of untouchable power crumble in real time. Judge Henderson in custody, the updates flow continuously. Police commissioner detained, deputy mayor surrendering now. Sarah works multiple computers, coordinating with Rebecca's news teams. Survivor testimonies going live, all channels. No one can claim they didn't. No. 8 more victims rescued from the Riverside Clinic, Maria reports. Medical teams responding, all stable. The biggest screen shows Thane in custody, his composed facade finally cracking as federal agents read his rights. Behind him, encrypted. Servers spill their secrets to FBI cyber teams. Directory of every client, Sarah confirms, scanning the data. Every transaction. Offshore accounts, property holdings, blackmail evidence. It's all here. James's radio crackles. Marshal Carter, you need to see this. In Thane's private office, FBI technicians have found a hidden wall safe. Inside, dozens of DVDs, each labeled with a prominent name and date. Insurance policy, Sarah says quietly. They recorded everything, every crime, every accomplice. Get it all to evidence, James orders. Every piece documented, every chain of custody verified. Nothing disappears this time. Rebecca's voice cuts in. Morrison's talking, full confession, naming names, says he'll testify against everyone involved. Rats leaving the ship, Martinez observes, nursing his injured arm. Let them run, Maria says. Every betrayal just builds a stronger case. Outside, news helicopters circle the harbor. Police boats intercept desperate escape attempts. The mighty, brought low by the very people they thought they'd broken. James's phone buzzes. Lisa, from the hospital where rescued victims are being treated. Emily's helping with intake. These girls, they're starting to hope again, starting to believe. In justice. Tell them it's real this time, he responds. Tell them it's over. Sarah appears at his side, holding their father's badge. Not quite over, there's one more thing. On her screen, security footage from the night of their father's murder. Crystal clear evidence showing Morrison giving the order, Reynolds following. Thane arranging the cover-up. Dad's case, James breathes. After all these years, 15 years, 4 months and 23 days. Sarah's voice is steel. Time to close it properly. The footage goes live across all channels. Reynolds, watching from custody, finally breaks. Signs a full confession. The last piece falls into place. Maria's network lights up with reports from across the city. More. Survivors coming forward. More officials surrendering. More evidence emerging from hidden vaults and secret files. They thought they could bury the truth, Sarah says, watching the footage of their father's last investigation. They never understood. Understood what? That truth is like fire. The harder you try to smother it, the hotter it burns. James. of finishes. Rebecca rushes in with breaking news. Governors resigned, state police moving on corrupt precincts, federal task force expanding the investigation nationwide. Phoenix rising, Maria says softly, from the ashes of what they destroyed. James looks at the tactical teams securing evidence, the medical units treating survivors, the journalists broadcasting truth to the world. An army of light, driving out decades of darkness. Marshal Carter, an FBI agent, appears. The director wants to speak with you and your sister, says this goes deeper than anyone knew, might need your help with the wider investigation. Sarah squares her shoulders. They want to know how we did it? How we brought down their perfect system? We'll tell them, James says. Every detail, every name, every crime. Because sometimes justice isn't just about punishing the guilty. Sometimes it's about showing others that no power is absolute, no corruption is untouchable, and no truth can stay buried forever. And sometimes the most important victory isn't bringing down the mighty, it's lifting up those they tried to break. News. Headlines paper the walls of Maria's safe house, marking 1 month since the raids. Trafficking ringleaders face life sentences. Governor, police chief indicted. Survivor fund established. Reform bill passes Senate. Sarah stands before the survivor support group, her voice stronger with each passing day. Recovery isn't linear, she tells them. Some days, the memories feel like flames that never die. But we're not alone anymore. We're not silent anymore. James watches from the doorway, thinking of how far they've come. The FBI task force has expanded to 3 more states, following the evidence trail they uncovered. Morrison's testimony opened investigations across the country. Reynolds's confession finally closed their father's case. The Foundation's assets have been seized, Rebecca reports, joining him. Court approved using them for survivor services, poetic justice. And the safe houses? Converting to official recovery centers. Maria's running the program now. Federal funding, full support. Through the window, they watch new survivors arrive, each one carrying stories of darkness, each one finding light again. Lisa appears with Emily, both wearing volunteer badges. Medical training programs starting next week, survivors teaching survivors. Dad would have loved this, Sarah says, joining them. Seeing justice done, seeing people heal. The last headline catches James's eye. Phoenix program goes national. Below it, a photo of Sarah testifying before Congress, demanding protection for whistleblowers and trafficking survivors. Because sometimes the end of one fight marks the beginning of another, and sometimes the brightest flames aren't those that destroy, but those that light the way forward for others to follow. 1 year later, Sarah stands at their father's grave, placing a new photo beside the headstone. In it, she and James flank Maria at the opening of the 10th Phoenix Center. Behind them, survivors wear graduation gowns, completing their recovery program. Their faces shine with hard-won strength. "We did it, Dad," she whispers. "We found the truth. We brought them down. And now we're helping others find their way home." James adjusts their father's badge, now mounted on a memorial plaque. Below it, a simple inscription. "The hottest fires forge the strongest steel." A call comes in on his radio. Another survivor rescued, another chain of darkness broken. Another chance to prove that no matter how deep the shadows, light always finds a way through. Because sometimes the greatest victory isn't in fighting fires, it's in teaching others how to rise from their own ashes.